Find your mouthpiece and put on your jock straps. It's the Sports Blitz with Doug and Robbie.
Okay, how long is your show?
You guys have such a great setup.
Hey, listen, if you're under a rock or if you're in a cave, come on out and listen to our episode.
It was fun talking baseball. I love talking Red Sox. I love talking coaching.
I don't care because I would rather there not be an MLB season than have to sit and watch the colossal embarrassment.
Hey, hello, I am Bloom. Yeah, it's Doug and Robbie from the Sports Blitz. I just wanted to find out whether you need some pitching.
There you go. In 5, 4, 3.
Good evening and welcome to episode number 79 of the Sports Blitz. Wow. Holy, I don't understand. 79, that's crazy. I'm Doug. We have Robbie here. Robbie, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, Doug. Doing great. Happy to be here as always for episode number 79. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Capital should support again. Anyway, if you're under a rock or in a cave, definitely come on out, give us a listen for another great episode, and just very excited to be here. So looking forward to another fun one tonight.
Absolutely. We do have some things to talk about. So we're gonna
a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do. So we're gonna jump right in. Robbie and I in pre-production decided to go from bad to good. So we're gonna start with the team that's been the most inconsistent team that we have in Boston right now, and that would be the Boston Celtics. And I just want to say right up front that even after the trade deadline, they're still incredibly inconsistent. I have no answers at this point, being more of a basketball guru, but I don't have any answers. Robbie, do you have any answers for this? I don't.
No, I really don't. I mean, it just seems like one step forward, two steps back. I know they got victory last night against the Knicks, which was good in terms of seeding us, or moves them up into that, I think, the 7th spot currently. The funny thing is they're still only a game out of 4th place. So I mean, again, just that shows how tight the East standings have been this season.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's just so inconsistent, whether it be them taking too many threes or just not defending at all, or just the lack of rebounding. I mean, there's just so many things that you could point to with this team in terms of the negative column. I don't have any answers, honestly, at this point. It's just so frustrating to watch. I mean, I've run out of words to describe the team, and I think I said last week that, like, basically, I'm on the fence if they can even make it to the playoffs at this point. I keep flip-flopping back and forth whether or not they're even going to make it to the top 8. I mean, it's just that kind of roller coaster of a season, and I just don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. And like you said, I think frustrating and inconsistent are the two words to describe it right there, plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, you actually said it right up front, Robbie. You said, "Oh, they beat the Knicks last night." Like, why should that be a surprise that they beat the Knicks? Knicks are a good, strong, young team, but they should beat the Knicks.
They're still the Knicks.
They should beat Charlotte. Charlotte's another good young team. We're missing some players also, but they should beat Charlotte. They should beat these. They should beat these young, upstart teams, I like to call them sometimes.
Right.
We shouldn't have to worry about these teams. They beat the Knicks. They held off. This is what the headline said. Held off the Knicks. They should have held off the Knicks. They should have beat them by 15, 20, maybe even 10 points. Should not have held them off.
Right.
The issue I have is that they're just, number one, they're not consistent. Number two, they still don't have an identity, even with the guys that they picked up. They don't have an identity. They have two superstars who are, minus Kemba Walker, who plays every other game anyway. And I understand why, and I get that. But you've got two superstars who don't really know how to superstar yet. Yes, they score a lot of points typically, especially Tatum scores a lot of points, which is great. But the issue is that they don't have the kind of flow. Like I was telling my wife as we were watching some of the Bruins game tonight before we came on to record, and do pre-show, pregame, and I was telling my wife that these guys have a ton of energy, and we'll talk about the Bruins in a bit, but they have a ton of energy. They stick up for their players. They're playing like a team. They're playing together. They're losing and winning like a team. These guys just don't seem like they really care. It seems like they're like so lackadaisical. If they're losing by 15 points, they're like, well, yeah, whatever. If they're winning by 15 points, they're like, oh, well, whatever. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
They're still shooting threes, whether or not they're up by 15 or down by 15.
Well,
Unfortunately,
what's happening, Robbie, is that they're living and dying by the three-pointer.
they took 54 threes the other. I'm not against the Knicks, but
Yeah.
one of the victory before. I forget. I'm blanking on who was against.
I think it was Charlotte.
I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was Charlotte. They took 54 3-pointers. 54. Like,
That shows you what kind of game they have. And of course, they play the 76ers, and they
don't make them.
I know. Well, that's
the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Golden State Warriors,
right,
where they can make all those shots. They cannot make them. I don't even have Daniel Tice to blame anymore. They still can't make them.
The only one that's been consistent with that is Jason Tatum.
Yeah, true.
That's the only person that's been consistent. Yeah, the other guys can hit them. Walker can hit them, and Brown can hit them, but still, I mean, the issue I have is that they don't have another game. They don't have an answer for Embiid. Embiid's a monster. They don't have an answer for him.
Dominated them the other night. The Sixers just absolutely dominated them.
Robert Williams III, who's been playing exceptionally well, there's no way he can cover him. There's no way.
No.
He's just too strong and big. There's no way you can do that.
Completely
no way you could do that. So they don't, exactly. So they don't have anybody down low that they can go to. So it's obvious where the game is going. It's going outside. So that's what it is. And you're just going to have to deal with that. But you can't win that way. You can't win the playoffs that way, and you can't win games just by having one thing, because all they have to do, all teams are doing is shutting them down. As soon as they shut them down that way, they're done. They're history. So, and that brings me to, I mean, who's at fault here? I mean, I think there's a combination. We talked about this last week too, Rob.
Yeah, all the above. I mean, I think you got to fall at everybody's feet. Here, Ainge for not doing enough at the deadline or the buyout market. Stevens for not doing enough to coach or motivate or strategize or whatever you want to call them, the players for not self-motivating and for not being able to get out of their own way when it comes to the style of basketball that they play. Guess what? If something's not working the first 500 times you do it, maybe you should try something else. Maybe you should try a different style, different method, because the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And guess what? You're getting the exact same result every single time you do that. So, I think it's got to go with you have to go with everybody. Nobody can be sort of absolved from blame with the current state of the 2020-21 Celtics. You just can't.
No, absolutely. And I just want to tell you, we just got an update from our Bruins guru in the other room. And she told me that the Bruins are still winning, but it's now 3-2.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you an update from the Bruins guru on the other side of the hallway there. And so I think it's a combination of things. I think, and a lot of, I think it's kind of, it's so weird. It's like a third, a third, a third.
Yeah.
I think they're playing with who they have, and that's all you can do. You can't, necessarily change that. The only person that can change that is Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge, I don't think has done enough to change it.
Right.
Whether he's going to do something in the offseason or not, that's to see down the road, and we'll talk about that, down the road. But right now, I mean, even if they make it to the playoffs, they're not going to beat the 76ers. They're not going to beat the Nets. Even
They're
if
gonna go
KD
around,
came back and
basically.
now is and now Irving's been hurt and KD was hurt, but KD's back but they're still winning games. So you got Kyrie Irving scoring 40 points every time he gets on the floor now. But it's not like I want Kyrie Irving back. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they're just disjointed. They don't look like they're playing as a team. No. And some of that, and I'm going to tell you right up front, and this is me talking, Mr. Basketball, some of that has to do with Brad Stevens.
Yeah.
There's been a call out by some of the people in the sports world, Brad Stevens' head. And I will tell you, I don't think they're listening to Brad. I think Brad's telling them to do stuff, and they're just like, I don't care. I don't think they're incapable of doing it. I think they're just not listening to him. And that's a problem. Once you start not listening to your coach, it's a huge problem right there. It's a huge problem. Oh, yeah. And I just think that's part of it. Brad Stevens is a huge part of it. And again, somebody said, and I can't remember who said it. Somebody said, remember we brought up everything last week and the week before about motivating. Yeah. About coaches motivating out there.
Coaches motivating versus self-motivating. I mean, it's a key thing.
Well, you have to have both.
No,
and the fact is that there's a prominent. Yeah, but there's a prominent player out there, and I can't remember whether it's Paul Pierce or somebody who had played before. Maybe it was Kenny Smith who said it. I can't remember who said it, but a prominent player out there that's on TV in the media had said that motivating coaches are not necessarily something that should be there. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, just look at Alex Cora. I mean, look at Alex Cora. We'll talk about the Red Sox in a bit, but look at Alex Cora in the dugout, slapping his guys and saying good job, and you can tell he's and get excited for his guys when they hit when they hit a not just a home run, but when they get on base, he gets excited. He's motivating them. They see that. I don't see any of that from Brad Stevens at all. It haven't at all yet.
Nope.
But the fact is that some players need that, and you have to recognize what players need it. We do have a younger team with some older players who kind of sprinkled in, but the fact is that we're going nowhere. So my opinion right now, Robbie, is you got to take 2 to 4 guys that you absolutely are untradeable one on the team. I can think of just 2 right now. Just 2. Right now. 2. Jaylen Brown and Tatum.
Yep.
The rest, bye-bye. See you later. Or try to figure out whether you can keep the Kemba. You probably keep Kemba because he's out there, and the problem is he's been really inconsistent this year, and I think it's because of the injury. Yeah. I think he's been good when he's out there, and it's good that they're resting him because I don't think if they played him in every game, I don't think he'd be the way he is now, which he's doing fairly well when he's out there. He's playing very well. There are some young guys that are playing well. There are some, Neesmith seems to be playing fairly well and that kind of thing. But I just, again, I still think there's a lot of dead wood on this team. And you got to get rid of the dead wood and bring in players that can freaking play. Period. End of story.
We've been saying that for weeks now, and the dead wood's still there.
That's the thing. We haven't been. The only way you can get rid of them, you can't trade for people now. But who's going to trade now? Who's going to trade now?
but you had a chance to get rid of more of that when you didn't do it. So
Right. And I think they're worried about players for COVID and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? Don't worry about that stuff. Worry about winning games and getting to the playoffs. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter this year. I'm telling you one thing. I'm not going to beat the 76. If they even squeak into the playoffs, I don't see them going any further than the first round.
Legitimately, I would put it less than a 50% chance that they win a round if they make it to the top 8.
I don't believe it's even that much, because I don't believe that they'll be able to win a first round.
Yeah.
This is just my personal opinion.
No, you're right. No, I completely agree.
I'm just a little dumbfounded, because it seemed to me that when they started out, that they had
expectations
not necessarily
were so
consistency.
high.
Yeah, expectations were very high, because we got
we
Thompson
just got in the Eastern Conference Finals with basically the same team.
Right.
We got to the Eastern Conference Finals for the third time in 4 years. I mean,
yeah, but other teams have gotten better though. The Nets have gotten incredibly better.
Believe me.
And even the Sixers brought a couple of guys in, and they got a lot better too. So, and Embiid has been hurt. I give him that. There have been times when Embiid's been hurt, and it's been difficult for them, because I don't think they can win without Embiid. I'm telling you right now. But I just think it's just I guess it's really discouraging when you see their games, and let me tell you, I might not be able to see the game because they'd be on now or something. I would tape it and then watch it later. So that's basically what I've been doing, is I've been taping it and watching it later on, or in, a couple of days later, whatever. And I see some incredible plays, and then I see some totally inconsistencies that I'm like, why did you do that extra pass? You should have shot the ball. Why did you throw it out to a 3-pointer when you could have had a layup? That doesn't make sense.
Why did you walk the ball back out basically to midcourt with 5 seconds on the shot clock?
Right. Exactly. These are the kinds of things I'm talking about. Marcus Smart may be in that 3 or 4 type person that I would keep.
Marcus Smart is on the borderline for me in terms of players that are untradeable, so to speak. Marcus Smart is kind of teetering back and forth on that fence, but I would say that Tatum and Brown are the definite locks, but Smart kind of varies by day for me how I feel about Marcus Smart's sort of solidness in terms of the trading block, so to speak. So
no, that totally makes sense. I just think they're just incredibly, they're just so discouraging every time you watch them, even if they're playing a crappy team. I mean, they just played Houston and they killed Houston.
Oh yeah,
they played so well. They played so
very, very well against Charlotte. I mean, they played pretty well against Charlotte, I felt like, despite taking 54 threes.
And that's correct too. And the reason that they played. By
the way, sorry I have to point that, but you just had a really bright light. It looked like you had a halo on your face there. That was interesting.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Is that cool? I hit something by accident, and something must have happened there. I don't know what happened. Anyway, apologize for that.
That's all right.
Anyway,
things by accident all the time.
Okay. So I think what it comes down to is, and the reason to beat Houston is because Houston's.
Oh yeah.
And since James Harden left, they've been a horrible team. They should beat these teams by 20 points, but they should beat the New York Knicks, and they should beat the Houston, and they should even beat Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte being a much better team, but kind of more of a mid-range team, kind of almost. If you pick a team that's very much like the Celtics, it will be the Charlotte Hornets. They're very much in the same bracket. They got younger players, they got older players, and they're in the same bracket. Right. So, but I'm just really discouraged, and we'll be talking about this for a while, and I just don't see I don't see an incredible turnaround for them, and unless they start playing as a team and start, really working together and playing more consistently, I just don't see it. Don't see it. But I guess they can't. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. Speaking of a team that has been that's been winning lately, has been doing very well as far as I'm concerned, is our Boston Bruins, who are actually on tonight. The last check I saw was 3-2.
I got a quick update. 3-2 at the end of the second. 3-2.
Second period, 3-2.
Second period, yes.
And they're playing the Capitals.
Right.
Right.
With a starting goalie who's only starting his second game in his NHL career.
That's correct. And by the way, his first game was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
So, I was sitting with my wife watching the game, and she's like, really good. I said, honey, it's the first game. He's played. I played a great game, but it's the first game. It's one game. I want to see him consistently. If he's going to do that, we don't know when Rasky's coming. Is he ever coming back? Did he go home? I don't know. Where did he decide to leave the bubble? Has he left the bubble?
I mean, unfortunately, he's become very unreliable and sort of inconsistent, and it's really prompted a lot of people to really look ahead to the future of this team between the pipes. It's not necessarily, I know we're going to get into it, but it's not necessarily the worst future if you really think about it.
Not the games that I've seen.
I think there's a lot of reason for optimism in the what may be fast approaching post Tuukka Rask era here in Boston.
That's correct. They had a great win last game. What did you think of last game, Robbie?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a very good win, especially bouncing back, against Philly, who had beaten them in overtime the game before. Then they go to Philly and are able to pull out the victory. So I was very happy about that. Great performance by Patrice Bergeron, getting the hat trick there and the victory, and a good career opening start for Jeremy Swayman. A very solid performance between the pipes, really did well, and seems tonight, I know he's given up 2 goals, but seems to be holding his own tonight as well against a much tougher Washington Capital team, and so definitely a promising, like we said, I know we don't want to read too much into 2 starts or a start in 2 periods here, but definitely a goalie to keep your eye on when it comes to again sort of the Bruins' future pipeline between the pipes. So I've been very impressed by this team's play and look these last few games, and I think there's a lot of, unlike with the Celtics, I think there's a lot of positives that you could take from where this team is at right now, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think there's a definite positive. I like the fact that we can kind of throw some unproven guys, some Providence guys, who, by the way, have gotten some really good accolades from the guys down, from the coaches and the guys down there, who have said that these guys have played exceptionally well. And again, it's different. AHL versus NHL, so it's very, very different in that respect. But it was really nice to see, because I mean, Swayman in the last game, I was like, wow, this guy can really follow that puck. He's got some great eyes, because you really have to these days, because it gets really not just. I was just saying that the players are a lot stronger and they're faster and that kind of thing than they were a long time ago. So it's more, you got to really watch where that puck is, and he seems to get it. Just again, this is just like you said, a game in 2 periods. That's all I've seen.
Yeah.
But he has played exceptionally well. Darth Vader has played well too. I call him Vader. I call him Darth Vader. He's played well too, and guy's ginormous. He's got the Chara height going on for a goal. He's 6'5", stage 6'7". But he's very, very big. He's very large, so a large guy. And sometimes that's good for a goalie because not a lot of space. Be able to get that puck by him. But I just thought, I thought they had played a really good game. They played a string of really good games. Are they going to be able to sustain? And are they going to be able to sustain it at the where they are right now? I know the trade deadline, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Trade deadline is Monday, but will they be able to sustain this at all?
I think they can. I definitely think they can sustain it. I mean, I get that sort of feeling from watching them play that they are definitely playing sort of energy-wise and just style of play-wise a lot more consistently than the Celtics, like we just talked about.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
I think anybody could play more consistently though than the Celtics at this point. You and I could play pickup pickup sport, more consistently than the Celtics at this point. But
yeah, Danny Age called me yesterday. I said I didn't want to be a part of it. I said
I got the call.
Gets rid of the deadwood. I'll come and play.
Yeah. But I do believe that they definitely can sustain this. I think that they are a team that, even though they're in the 4th spot in the East right now, I think that they could be a very tough out for any of those top teams in a playoff series. I think that they've shown that they can compete with any of the upper echelon teams in the East Division, and obviously that's the only division they've been playing this season, has been the East Division, so they've got a lot of work yet against all those other East Division teams. I mean, aren't you just enjoying seeing the Flyers, the Penguins, the Capitals, the Islanders?
I'm not enjoying this, seeing the same teams over and over again. Nuts.
By the way, just wanted, this is the perfect time for my sort of once an episode just reminder that the Rangers suck. But anyway, moving on to
man.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Is that going to be the theme? Is that going to be one? Wait, I'm going to write that down as one of the things that the Sports Blitz does.
That's a thing that is going to continue. So brace yourselves, folks. If you're a Rangers fan, be prepared for a little bit of playful hate, as I like to call it, at least once an episode. Just a friendly reminder.
I wrote that down. I wrote that down on our list. This is the Sports List things that we do. It's right down on the bottom there. It says Rangers suck, number 6.
Yeah, just as a reminder that we are a Boston sports show. We are not a New York sports show.
Right.
But hey, listen,
Hey, but guess what? I'm sporting now.
We take on any. Oh God.
What in the New York T-shirt though?
We take on a plethora of different topics, some of which are not Boston sports related, but first and foremost, we are a Boston sports based show. And
that's right. And New York sucks.
Yeah, exactly. All the New York teams suck. Period of the story.
We love New York though. The Sports Blitz loves New York. I'd love to have a live show. Do that one day. We'll go to New York and we'll talk Boston sports. New York.
God,
that'll go over well.
Let's go to the Bronx and try that.
Go to Central Park and in the daytime and talk about. Hey! Listen. There's another show on the couch talking sports. You guys got to watch. Shameless plug there for Robbie and Kyle. They go to the Brookline Reservoir, if I can say that right, and they walk around and they do their show right there. So why can't we go to Central Park? It's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
We'll just have the camera. We'll hold the camera like this, and we'll just keep going.
All right.
We'll
there
just
you
do it.
go.
We'll do it someday. We'll do it someday.
We'll do it live.
Our 1,000th episode.
We-
We're on number 79, by the way.
Yeah.
So that'll be our 1,000th episode.
Only 921 more to go. Got
it.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Bruins sustaining. I think they can sustain. Period. Which is bottom line. I think they can sustain the way they're playing. And I think, like I said, I think they will be a tough out for any team come playoff time. Is what I truly believe, given what I'm seeing out of them. Right now and sort of recently. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I know the trade deadline's coming up on Monday. I know that they were looking at a couple of guys. They were looking at several guys, many guys.
They lost out
I
on
don't
that
know.
guy from the Devils. I know that much.
Yeah, the guy Palmieri from the Devils. I wanted him. I
I
wanted him also, and they were looking at maybe possibly getting him plus a defensive guy. Can't remember what the last name starts with a C, and can't remember exactly what his last name is. But anyway, they were looking at two guys from New Jersey, and it turns out that the Islanders got a little bit better yesterday, which is not good for us. But
nope.
because wait a minute, that's a New York team. So so the Islanders got a little bit better yesterday, but we're still in the hunt for some people. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but we'll be able to, possibly discuss that, relatively soon. Again, on Monday, they have the trade deadline.
Because I think you sort of have more opinions on the on them making a move or not making a move than I do. So I mean, sort of just do you think that they will make a move by Monday? If you sort of in your heart of hearts have to take a guess.
In my heart of hearts, I hope they do, because they do need some secondary scoring.
I know you hope they do, but will they? That's the $1 million question.
If they win tonight's game, I don't see them making a move. I just don't, because they're playing so well.
Okay, folks, breaking news. Doug is hoping that the Bruins lose tonight so they make a move
Yes.
at the trade deadline.
Absolutely. Yes. I do. Because I do think they need some secondary scoring. I do think they need another defensive guy, although Miller is back, which is great to see. He actually he was interviewed this morning and he said his body feels good, which we didn't really need to know about. But he said his body feels good. He feels good. He was ready for tonight's game. So that's good to hear. He's been out for a while. He's been in and out. He's always getting hurt. Every year he's getting hurt sometime. But it's good to hear. It's good to see that he's back, and it's good to have that, because he's a big, tough defenseman, which is great.
Right.
But Carlo's out. We got a whole bunch of guys that are out. They may even be looking for a goalie. We don't have what veteran goalie do we have playing at this time? That would be nobody.
Yeah. Well, right now
we
have
don't have
one
a veteran.
goalie.
We have Halak, and Halak's on COVID protocol.
Yeah, we have one goalie hurt, one in COVID protocol, and then we
got two guys in the AHL who are playing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who have stood up well, but again,
yes,
sort of
they have played well, but again,
later in the season, you need that sort of experience between the pipes there. I mean, that goes without saying.
Well, Rask has left the bubble. And the fact is that COVID, I guess, affects people differently. Thompson actually came back from the Celtics and he said, "This thing ain't no joke." That's what he said. And he did have a whole interview about the fact that he went through a whole bunch of stuff. Now, this is a conditioned athlete too. So COVID affects people differently. Halak could be out for 14 days. Halak could be out for 20 days. So, and we, and Tuca is on the
Tuca's on the golf course somewhere.
Tuca is on the witness protection program. That's, I think, what he's on. I don't know where the hell he is. I mean, he left the bubble. He's gone. He's hurt. He's having fun on the golf course, playing on one leg. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. So there's a possibility that they could try to pick up a veteran goalie to be, to get them to at least until a lot comes back. Who knows about Tuco? Nobody knows about what's going on with him. So I don't have any doubt. I just know that the two guys we got, the two guys who are not veteran quarterbacks, right? Quarterbacks, right? We're talking NFL, right? Are they quarterbacks? No. NFL goalies. NFL goalies. That's even better. Oh yeah, we're having a good time tonight. Here we go, messing up all the stuff. All right, take two. Let's start this episode all over again. Okay, so
yeah,
that was great. Okay, let's get this right. I'm gonna write it down first, and then I'm gonna probably get it right after I write it down because I can just read it. Excellent. We're talking about goalies. Okay, here we go. I wrote that down.
In the NHL,
In the NFL, in the NBA, we're
NHL.
talking about goalies in the NBA. Okay, so well, they are actually NHL goalies now because they've had their game. I don't know how many games do you have to play to be an NHL goalie? I don't know. Anyway, besides that, I don't really know where that's going. I'm not looking for them to lose. I hope they win tonight. I'm just hoping that Don Sweeney looks at things and says, you know what? We need these guys for the playoffs. We need these guys right now so they can play with us and help us during the playoffs. I'm hoping that he looks at that and doesn't go, oh, we're winning games now. We shouldn't do anything. And that's what I think he's going to do because the Boston teams have been brain dead this year with trying to guys up.
Too much standing pat.
Too much thinking that guys are going to help when they're actually not going to help. Like, I got so pissed off yesterday when I heard Palmieri was going to. Now, if he was going to Phoenix, I could care less about that. Going to Toronto, I could care less about that. He goes to the freaking Islanders.
In division,
that freaking pisses me off. That pisses me off. That means we had a chance to get him and we didn't. That's what pisses me off. Is that we can't. Why can't we just go after a guy and like him, know that we're going after him and go and get him? That just drives me nuts. Drives me crazy when that happens. So, and there are other guys out there. There's Taylor Hall is out there. Taylor Hall is was drafted the same time Sagan was. So, and they're the same age, but he's still a viable winger. He's still a good player. He does get hurt. He has been hurt. But still, I mean, there are guys out there that we can pick up. So, and again, to help us in the playoffs, not necessarily to help us now, but to help us down the road. And I'm not sure if these GMs are thinking this way. Maybe they are. Wait, hold on. Hello? Yeah, Don Sweeney? Oh, how you doing? Yeah. What? Oh, you might or you might not. Okay, thanks. Oh, that was Don Sweeney. He said he may or may not do something on Monday. We'll have to see about that. I have no clue. Anyway, I just know that we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
And
we'll know a lot more by our next episode, folks.
Yeah, oh, definitely, absolutely. And I know that there are some teams that go out and they start really, really well, and there are some teams that have had some rough starts when they start out, and that was our next segment, which is our Boston Red Sox.
Hold on, what a segue that was!
Hey, I thought it was pretty good.
That was quite the transition there, my friend. That was.
I went to Emerson for radio. I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit here and there.
No, that was good.
Just a little. Get that out there. So again, our Boston Red Sox just started their season, and it was a very rough start. I'm gonna go to the baseball guru on this one. Robbie, what did you think about the first 3 games of the season here? I actually, that first game, I turned to my wife because it was afternoon, wasn't it? Yeah, it was afternoon game because we saw the flyover, and I turned to my wife after they lost. I said, Robbie is not going to be in a good mood today. I am not going to contact him. There is no way. Robbie, what do you think about this? Not what they're doing now, but on the rough start part.
Yeah, no, the first series, one word comes to mind, and this word is going to shock you, knowing me. And I think if anybody has small children listening at home, you should cover your kids' ears here for a minute. And that word is shit. It was a shit series against a shit organization and the Baltimore Orioles. You should not how in the world do you get swept by the Baltimore Orioles? The Baltimore Orioles. This is the team that I don't know. I don't think they've had a winning record since the Obama administration. I mean, it's been a long time since the beginning of the Obama administration.
Since Cal Ripken Jr. was on it.
I know they made the playoffs, back in like 2012, 2013, but
that was
still, it was just so bad. I mean, the game one of all the pitches decently, but they can't score a freaking run for them. Second game, same thing. Tanner Houck gets maybe a tiny bit more run support, but still, they can't put runs together. And then the third game, Garrett Richards, who was a free agent pickup. We spoke very highly of him coming in to the season, and he goes out in his first start and can't even make it out of the third inning, and it is 10-0 by the end of the third inning. It was just so bad, and I literally at the end of that series. And you know me, I'm the biggest Sox fan out there, and I'm also the biggest optimist out there. I try to see the bright side of things, and really try to keep the faith, far and wide. But honestly, I thought that we were basically heading into a repeat of the 2020 season. After watching that series, it was that bad. It was that demoralizing for me again to get swept by the Baltimore Orioles. Again, I have to remind myself of that fact that we were swept by the Baltimore Orioles. Now, obviously, fast forward about a week, and I'm feeling a lot better about things, which we're going to get into here in just a minute. But that was demoralizing, depressing.
It was brutal.
It was brutal. It literally, I promise this will be the folks who can uncover your kids' ears in about 2 seconds. It felt like shit. It felt like shit, basically. So there you go.
Wow. Wow. Well, I knew it was going to be I knew when I asked you the question that it was going to be.
You know what? You let that train start rolling.
Right. No, exactly. But I wanted to get that reaction anyway. But still, so we're talking about the 3 first games of the year, and you really. It's been my experience that you really can't tell what kind of team you have until you're on game number 20 to 25. And then you really figure out what's going on and what's happening, and sometimes even longer than that, depending on the season. And I know we kind of, last year being a COVID season or whatever, it was a little different and stuff like that. But I think it's one of those things where, yeah, it was a rough start. But what do you think of them now? They certainly had a huge bounce back. So let's get into the nitty gritty of what's really going on here.
So it's interesting because we go from being swept by the doormat of Major League Baseball to open the season to then turning around and sweeping the defending American League champions. So if someone wants to explain that to me, I'd love to hear. And by the way, those Tampa games, freaking awesome, man. That especially that second game, that Tuesday night game, unbelievable ball game, even though they had to invoke the stupid extra inning runner rule, which, you know, we're not going to get me started again about that. I've already ranted on that enough. But what a turnaround. And then today they go out and again, Eduardo Rodriguez back for the first time since 2019. Glad to see him back out on the bump. You know, we go out and, you know, I know they got down early in the game today, but then they come back and they pull it out, you know, going away by a 7-3 final against those same Orioles. So yeah, I mean, it's been a complete 180-degree turn for this team. The bats have come alive. The pitching has looked a lot better. I mean, right now, you know, they're 4-3. 4-3, where a week ago, I mean, a lot of people were starting to write again. I know, and I agree with you that, you know, I mean, 3 games does not a season make, but I think there are a lot of people out there who are writing the obituary for the 2021 Red Sox after that first series. But now, I mean, again, they turned the corner very, very quickly. And I'll tell you this, and we were talking about this a little while ago. It is, I truly believe that it is the Alex Cora effect and the ability for them to be able to turn the corner like they have, because you're not making that kind of turnaround with Ron Renicky as your manager. I'm sorry.
Well, because he's napping anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he was basically asleep in the dugout, you know, all season long last year.
Was there a hit? Was there a hit? Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
But
Ron, go back to sleep, Ron. Okay.
I think the Alex Cora effect is in full swing, no pun intended, for the Red Sox right now, and it was yeah, exactly. It was just really, really good to see. It made me feel just so much better about, you know, the potential for this team, you know, heading into the next 150, 57 odd games. Or
Absolutely.
55,
Absolutely. Yeah. I think what I thought after the first 3 games was the fact that the first thing I said was, "Uh-oh, here we go again."
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I thought. But on the flip side of it, you saw a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of stuff going on. You saw a little bit. You see Rafi Devers getting upset about himself. Now, if he doesn't care, he ain't getting upset at all. Always gets upset. Yesterday, he got upset. Yesterday, I think he got upset. He got upset. I was listening to the game on the radio, and he actually got upset at the fact that he hit a absolutely scorching line drive to get into a double play. But I'll tell you, the hit, I think, burned the hole in the guy's glove who got the ball. I mean, he played really well. And he's still getting upset about the fact that he at least at that time, you know, he's getting upset about, you know, different hits, different plays, or different things that are going on. He's just like that. That's the way he is. But you saw fleeting moments of different things in the first 3 games. Just recently, you see, oh my, what is going on here? It's like apples and oranges. It's like a totally different team.
Night and day.
It's like did Cora bring him into the thing and slap him around a little bit? What did he do?
Did Cora basically, you know, replace them with a whole different? I mean,
yeah, these robots.
Yeah, like
robots?
is he using a whole different crop of players that are just replacing? Like
yeah, we just call.
Like, I don't know.
It's
crazy.
It's amazing that the absolute turnaround. And I think you're right. I think it does have something to do with Cora. I think Cora took him in after the 3rd game and said, "Look, we can go one of 2 ways. we can go like we did the last 3 games, or we can concentrate, really focus, have a true focus on what we want to do." Go game to game. Don't think about the next game. Go game to game, just like we usually do. And let's kick some ass, folks, because we know we can do it. We know we have a good team. Let's kick some. Somebody lit a fire under their butts.
I know. I know.
Because all of a sudden they came back. I was like, whoa,
Where did this team come from? Like, what?
where did this team? And again, we played. Was it Kevin Cash's team yesterday? Was it yesterday that we played?
Tampa, yeah.
Yeah. So we played, and it's all of a sudden it's like 9-0, and Kevin Cash is the starter in. And the starter's like, take me out, man. I don't have it. Hello. This was the conversation, okay? This Kevin Cash. Kevin Cash comes up to the guy and goes, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to stay in because we don't have anybody up in the dugout, anybody up in the bullpen. You're gonna have to stay. No, man, you can't leave me in. It's 9-0. You can't leave me in. I don't have it, man. I don't have it today.
For all the times that Kevin Cash,
we're just gonna have to leave you in. And
for all the times for Kevin Cash to stick with a guy, like this was the worst time to do it.
And they would even Lou Maloney on the commentating, they were like, Lou Maloney was like, Kevin Cash is really pretty good with this stuff. How come he doesn't have anybody up in the ball right now? I mean, this is like the 4th or 5th inning, and it's like, what? Why doesn't he? This doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, this is the same Kevin Cash that pulled a starter that was beating the Dodgers 1-0 in Game 6 of the World Series in the 6th inning.
Well, they'll also bring it up like Pedro, like the Pedro thing.
I know.
You leave Pedro in, and you take him out.
I mean, I honestly think that Cash's decision may have been dumber than Grady Little's. I think we've actually found someone who is dumber than Grady Little.
But Lou actually put it in a different way. Lou said, if you're going to lose, you lose with you got. That's what he believes. That's why. And Lou was part of that team. Lou was part of that team. So he said, you lose with your big guy. You lose with your number one guy.
That's what I'm saying is that I can see a bit more logic in leaving Pedro in than I can see taking Glasnow out.
Right.
Kevin Cash did.
Right, exactly. No, exactly. But I'll tell you that the pitching has been, at least in the recent games, and the bounce back games, the pitching has been really solid.
Can I say one thing? And I
you could say 12 things.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far back I don't want to go back too much to the 2020 World Series because obviously we're on to the 2021 season. But I literally saw that, and also learning. And listen, I want to preface this by saying this is partially a joke, and I am nowhere near a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. Like that's not me at all. But after seeing what Kevin Cash did and hearing about Justin Turner testing positive during that Game 6, I legitimately thought that MLB may have actually bribed the Rays to throw that game so they didn't have to go into a Game 7 with a potential COVID outbreak on their hands. Like that was the only logical. It was even the logical. That was the only explanation that like I could come back with there for a split second. It's like, am I living in the Twilight Zone? Like, what is happening? Again, I don't want to get too far off the rails because obviously,
No, that's not a bad conspiracy theory.
6 months ago, compared to some of the other ones out there, that one actually it might make a little teeny tiny bit of sense. But anyway,
hey, listen,
2021 Red Sox.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, some of our new acquisitions, they are playing really well. TK?
Yeah. Hey, I hit a homer today.
TK's playing. First of all, I love his name. I was going to be TK, but my parents decided that.
TK Simon.
TK Simon. Yep. Yeah. Maybe a middle name. Doug TK Simon. Sounds a little better. But some of these guys are like, whoa, where did? But again, it's
Marwin
making
Gonzalez, another one. Marwin Gonzalez, another one.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Frenchie.
Yeah, good old Frenchie Cordero. I love it.
Frenchie Cordero's playing well too. I'm like,
yeah.
And they're Lou's going nuts over him. Lou's saying Oh, wow. Now I know why he was, they didn't want to give him up and blah, blah. And he's playing really, I mean, everybody's just like, I mean, even it makes High Bloom look like, I mean, it
Now,
makes him,
I will say that there is one player that is sort of at the other end of that spectrum,
yeah, who's that? Who's there?
and there's a guy that we've talked about several times on this podcast.
Ted Williams. No.
I remember a specific moment with our friend Matt Noon, where we were talking this guy's name up, but that would be one old Bobby Dahlbeck, who basically decided that he is going to strike out pretty much every other at bat this season so far to start the year. Just not really having it so far here in 2021. Our good old
Yes, our friend of the show, by the way, Matt Noon. He's our Red Sox insider.
Yes.
And
Red Sox insider / Babson baseball coach. Again, shout out Babson baseball.
Yes, absolutely. Another friend of the Sports Blitz, the Babson baseball team, which we absolutely love. It looks like Mr. Dahlbeck might need some more pitching and might need some more hitting advice from Mr.
Maybe Matt can get him in the cage a little bit.
Get him in the cage, man. Get him in the cage, man. Get him in the cage. Get him in the cage. So our season.
Wait, hold on. Hello. Oh, hey, man. How's it going?
There you go.
Or you're coaching your Babson team, so you really can't get him in the cage.
He would call too.
Okay. Good luck. All right. Thank you.
Matt Noon, ladies and gentlemen.
That may not be happening, in the near future, but that's all right. That's all good. He's got a little team to run himself, Babson.
It is what it is. But you know what, sports fans of the Sports Blitz, we are going to have Matt Noon on again because I want his opinion. I want to find out, even if we have to have him after season, I don't care. But we're definitely going to have him on again because I want him to give us a synopsis of what his thoughts are on what's going on with these Red Sox and stuff like that. So we're up to our season predictions for the Boston Red Sox. I know it's difficult because it's very, very early in the season right now.
Yeah.
I don't typically like to predict too much during the season. It's okay if you don't want to. But just give us an idea if you think they're going in the right direction anyway.
I mean, I definitely think they're going in the right direction. I think honestly, what it comes down to is I need to see more before making a true prediction, because I mean, just sort of with the up and down of the first 7 games, I need to get a little bit more of a sample to really truly see what direction this team is trending towards. Do I think, hey, listen, I'll say this. Do I think that this team could potentially be, a playoff team in 2021? And by playoff team, I mean, wild card team? Maybe, it could definitely be in discussion. Do I think they're going to necessarily, win the AL East? Less likely. I mean, anything's possible these days, but I just don't see that being a strong possibility. But I definitely think are going to be more in the discussion than they were last year. I think that they have the potential to make some noise, at least make some noise longer into the season than they did in 2020. That's for sure. But I don't want to sort of go too much sort of out there until I get a little bit more of a sample size in terms of where this team is heading this season. But right now they're at a good place. They're definitely at a good place.
Yeah, definitely. I actually think the same thing. I don't want to predict too much because it's very, very early. Although Alex Cora says that they're very, very happy with Matt Barnes. He's got 9 Ks in 4 innings, doing amazing. And we're
Barnes,
hoping that
what a turnaround for that guy. I mean, hey, I used to cringe and turn away from the TV anytime he'd come in the ball game. But so far this season, he's been he's been pitching pretty much lights out, and they've kind of moved him into more of a true closer role, and he's making the most of it. So I like what I see from him so far this year for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to throw that out to you.
Yeah.
I just think it's a little early to make too much of a prediction. I like what I see so far, though, in the fact that it looks like they took those 3 losses, they dumped them, they threw them away, and now they're just in that groove of let's take game to game, let's do our best. Hey, you know what? We're actually a pretty good team here. Maybe maybe we can keep going with this, and we'll see what happens. So I think that and so glad to see Eduardo Rodriguez come back after his after the heart condition. He wins a very emotional return for him. I think it's great for him, and so glad that he's back and that everything's going well for him. But that's what I'm thinking. Just the continuation. Let's try to be consistent and keep going the way we're going, because I think they're actually fun to watch. They're fun to listen to. I was listening to them yesterday. I was actually listening to them. I was in the car and I was listening, and I was like, wow, it just getting excited about stuff, and they're starting to win games and playing well. So that's kind of my prediction for that, is that I think that they're definitely a good place.
And it's very exciting to see fans back at Fenway Park as well.
Definitely. I think that feeds off of them too. I think in every sport right now, I think the Bruins are feeding off of it. Not so sure about the Celtics, but I know the Bruins are, and I know the Red Sox are. They at least have fans there, even if it's a few thousand fans. You can still feeding off of that.
You can feel it too. You can feel the difference. I feel like even just early on here.
Oh, definitely, absolutely. I think that's definite. So we are now up to our final thoughts for the evening.
What? No, Doug.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
We definitely need to talk about one last thing, and Robbie said he wanted to talk about this, and
we talked about we made predictions about this last year.
I know, but our predictions were wrong, so I thought we'd just fly right over it because we were wrong.
We were 50-50. We were better on one night than we were on the other.
Well, we were right about who was going to be there. We were wrong about who was going to win. So let's talk about the March Madness. We had Baylor versus Gonzaga. I said, and I will say it again, I said Gonzaga was going to win the national championship. And so what are your thoughts about that? First of all, I just want to say that when I started watching, which is around 16, teams in, I'll tell you, this is some of the best basketball I've seen in a long time. Best college basketball I've seen in a long time. Close games, good games, great play, just amazing. Some of those games were like incredible to watch. So, and down to the wire, as you know about the was it the Baylor game or the Gonzaga game?
Gonzaga UCLA.
Yeah, Gonzaga UCLA went down to the last shot.
The Gonzaga UCLA semifinal may actually be in sort of the top 10 tournament games in like the history of the tournament. That finish was unbelievable. For those of you who didn't see it, UCLA literally scored. The game was in overtime. It was the final minute of overtime. UCLA scores with, I think it's 3 seconds left to tie the game. Potentially forcing double overtime, and then Gonzaga comes down, and Suggs for Gonzaga, who had quite a tournament just in general, comes down and hits a buzzer beating, half court shy, to set Gonzaga to the national championship game. Just like I said, just quite what I mean, just what a ball game that was. I mean, that was March Madness encapsulated right there in one game. I mean, that was just
Yes.
so much fun to watch. The Baylor Houston game, Baylor kind of took control of that game from the beginning, and sort of one going away there.
It wasn't a bad game though.
No, it wasn't.
I enjoyed the game, even if I thought Baylor was going to win anyway. But I just thought it was a good game.
But then, Baylor Gonzaga, I was very surprised. Baylor just kind of from the beginning kind of shut Gonzaga down. I mean, they just found a way to really neutralize Gonzaga offensively.
They've been doing that to teams all year, though.
And they made the plays offensively themselves, and were hitting their shots and all that good stuff. And they basically from you could tell that they were on 4 or 5 minutes into the game even. They sort of got off to a hot start and did not look back. And hey, listen, we send our utmost congratulations to the Baylor Bears for winning the national championship. And we also like to point out that the quest for a undefeated national champion continues, or at least for the first time since I think Indiana did it back in the Bobby Knight days. So you're going back 30 years or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a performance. I mean, hey, listen, congratulations to Gonzaga as well on a tremendous season. I mean, undefeated to the last game is nothing to laugh at. And obviously I think they will be back, I'm sure, next year looking for some payback. And so but yeah, Baylor, at the end of the day, Baylor did what they had to do to get it done, and a lot of credit goes to them. And they are the champions for sure of March Madness, which I was just so happy that they were able to play March Madness, start to finish this year, and give college basketball fans what they wanted to see. So very well done to the NCAA in that regard. Really, putting all the proper protocols in place, and making sure that all things considered, the tournament went off without a hitch.
Absolutely. And again, the games were phenomenal. Most, if not all, the games that I watched were just great games. I mean, sometimes you have a tournament, and I've watched the tournament before many times. Sometimes you have a tournament where, the games are blowouts, and it's like, oh, I don't want to watch this game. I'll wait till the next one, and I turn it off, before the first half, because they're already leading by 20, and it's probably gonna, they're probably gonna roll over them and stuff like that. I thought the games were phenomenal. I thought they did a great job with making sure that the protocols were taken care of, keeping the kids safe and stuff like that. And I just thought it was a great one of the best March Madnesses I've seen in a long time. Just with the games, especially Final Four, especially Final 16, being just really, really good competition and good games to watch. And that's what we're doing. We're watching them. So it's one of those things where
I did want to say too, just really quickly, obviously we were just talking about the men's winner, but I also wanted to give a quick shout out to the women's March Madness winner, the Stanford Cardinal, who defeated Arizona in the women's championship game, and all Pac-12 women's championship game. So big ups to the Pac-12 conference. And by the way, got a quick update from our nation's capital. The Bruins get a power play goal. They currently lead the Capitals 4-2 with 3:05 to play in the final period. So big possible insurance goal there for the Bees. Very happy to see that.
That's huge. Who scored that? Do we know?
It's not telling me. It's just saying power play goal scored by the Bruins. So I hold on. Let me do a little quick momentary research here. But
the other one for the Guru, but that's okay.
No, but I just wanted to say, to the women's champion as well, Stanford, big congratulations to them. It was Craig Smith. Craig Smith got the goal.
Oh, good. Well, step up, of course. One of the people that we were talking about trying to step up, and of course he scored a goal. So yeah, Don Sweeney ain't gonna do that. Okay, excellent. It's fine with me. It's not fine with me. I want them to be able to go into the playoffs with some secondary scoring and some secondary defense, and they don't have it. And I like to see guys stepping up. I think it's great. And actually watching the Bruins are a lot better than watching the Celtics. That's for sure.
Of course.
So we are now arriving at our final thoughts. I'm not sure if we want to have a final thought for the evening, but we final thoughts are coming up right now for episode number 79 of the Sports Blitz. And I'm going to go to Robbie. You're up front. You're up first there, Robbie. About what are your final thoughts for the evening?
Yeah, so I wanted my final thought to be about a former Boston sports legend who was in the news just recently, not necessarily in the greatest of light, but our old friend, the Truth, Mr. Paul Pierce, got into a little bit of trouble with his now ex-employer, ESPN, given some content I guess he posted on his Instagram page or story or wherever the hell it is. Basically he posted something that was a bit promiscuous and sort of risque, and caught the attention of the ESPN executives, not necessarily in a good way, and he has been let go as a analyst for ESPN. And I just wanted to take a moment to do a little brief PSA to all the folks watching and listening at home. Hey, listen, whatever you do in your private life, that's on you. That's your private business, but don't post on Instagram. I mean, that stuff stays around forever, and it can have real repercussions, folks. I got news for you. There could be real world consequences to what you post on even your Instagram live or story or whatever the hell it is, Snapchat, all that good stuff. So
Snapchat goes away. Snapchat disappears. You put it
still,
on, somebody's got to see it really quickly.
People can still grab it. I mean, it's still you just be smart about what you post on social media in general. Just don't take it from somebody who has learned lessons the hard way in that regard. Just don't take the risk. Don't take the risk. It's not worth it. So yeah, sorry to hopefully Paul lands back on his feet, and there are bigger and better things coming for him. But not a good moment for good old number 34, the Truth, there over this past week. So that's all I got for this week's final thought. Doug, what is your final thought for episode number 79?
Well, I had one, but I'm going to chime in about this a little bit.
Sure, go ahead.
I agree with you say. I think I think with social media being what it is today, and we're actually part of it, doing this show. We're part of social media.
We're on social media. Yep, we're on Facebook, Twitter. Definitely give us a like and watch on there.
Absolutely, YouTube. Yeah, SoundCloud. So the fact is that what I get upset about is that you can't say anything today without somebody getting upset, and that's why the PSA makes sense, because of the fact that you say just don't do it, which you shouldn't. But I believe in the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. Do I believe that you should put something on where your employer could find it? No. I don't, because that could get you in trouble and then you can get fired, and like happened to Paul Pierce. But what my little small PSA is that I'm a little sick and tired of the fact that we can't say one thing without getting our asses kicked all over the place, no matter what it is. And the fact is that what we need today in society, and what we do today, is we need to have tough conversations about things. We need to have that tough conversation about racism. We need to have the tough conversation about people that are not doing the right thing. We need to have those conversations. Some of those conversations get there. If you even mention something like that, you get your ass kicked. And that's that
Both
I don't
sides,
like.
too. I mean, it is both sides. Both sides are
Exactly.
equally-
But I guess what I'm
I
saying
agree.
is that we talk about free speech, but there is no free speech anymore. It's gone. It's history. You could say it all you want, but the fact is that you're going to get in trouble for it, or somebody's going to chime in and say, "Oh, you said the wrong thing," or whatever. Well, maybe that's how I believe things, and I just think it's a double-edged sword, and it's hurting all of us, and we just need to have a conversation these days and make sure that everybody's treating everybody the way they're supposed to be treated. That's all I got to say about that. But I totally agree with what you're saying on your side. I wasn't against it. What I'm saying is that I wish there was more conversations out
I
there,
understand.
so
No,
we
I
can
get your
turn the
point.
world around a little and start loving each other instead of hating each other. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
And by the way, folks, this has been a new episode of the sub series of the Sports Blitz, the political blitz. I think
No, I don't want to do any of that. No, no politics, dude.
I think
Unless-
that the reason why I say that is I think that's in the 79 episodes in 4 years plus that we have been doing the show. I think that moment right there, I think it's the most political we've ever gotten on an episode.
But it wasn't political. It's about talking. It's about
but I'm saying
talking about stuff.
The most. No, I wasn't saying it was. I'm not saying it was political. But what I'm saying is it's just kind of funny that we sort of really try to stick to sports on this podcast so much so that even that could be considered the most sort of politically charged discussion that we've ever had on this podcast.
Exactly.
I
Yes.
thought it was kind of fun. I just thought it was
We
kind of
stay
fun.
away from it.
Yeah, no, we really
Stay away from it because this isn't a political podcast. It's a sports podcast with some other stuff sprinkled in. But we typically don't. Unless it's in sports. If it's in sports, then we'll talk about it. But if it's not about sports, then I don't mind talking about other stuff because we have, but nothing political. And it's okay with me. But my real final thought for the evening, and again, I'm not disagreeing with what Robbie said. I'm just kind of adding.
No, I know. I get completely where you're coming from, and I don't disagree with you either. What you are saying, I think you make a lot of valid points. No, I didn't take a disagreement at all.
No, I just want to tell everybody that I wasn't disagreeing with you. I was just adding.
Right.
Absolutely. My real final thought, actually, and Robbie's going to faint. My real final thought. No, not yet. I haven't said it yet. My real final thought is actually about baseball. There he goes. He's going to faint. So I saw this. See, there it goes. Great. It's just me now. So I'll continue. We can talk about. No, he's fainted.
Sorry, what did you say? Sorry, hold on.
Said nothing. My real final thought for the evening is I got this notification.
Bruins won 4-2. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. Oh damn! They're not going to do anything on Monday. Okay.
Oh no.
Great. Oh great. Anyway, my final thought is about baseball. I got this notification on my phone about a game. The Mets against the Marlins. Mets against the Marlins had a very, very interesting ending to their game. And it was very, very controversial. Now, what happened was that there were bases loaded. And I don't know the people that were involved because I don't follow the Mets and I don't follow the Marlins unless they come and play the Red Sox.
Michael Conforto is that bad. That's all.
Yeah, that's great. That's correct. I do know that part. So what happened is that there was a one pitch, which was pretty much nothing. Then there was a second pitch. And the second pitch, if you slow it down enough, which they actually did in the booth, they slowed it down to have everybody. It was on TV, so they showed everybody. They slowed it down. So he's like this, okay, and he's got his. And what happens is that he's like this. Anyway, let me get that. There we go. He's like this, and all of a sudden, he leans in ever so slightly to, by the way, a pitch that was going to be a strike. He leans into it with his elbow, and what happens is he leans in, and supposedly it hits him. Okay.
Supposedly being the key word there, by the way.
Yes, supposedly is the key word. And then what the ump does is the ump initially calls a strike, and then all of a sudden he goes like this, which means that he was hit. Now, if he was hit, he's awarded a base, and the game's over. It's a walk-off. It's a walk-off hit batter, is what it was. But the issue is that he leaned into it. Now they did look at it, but then the rule, there's two rules that come to, and you can talk about this with me, Robbie. There's two rules.
Well, by the way, I just want to point out to the point, because I have a sort of I want to let you sort of, go as far as you want to here. But for those of you who don't know him, I am a baseball umpire, so I'm very invested in these sort of baseball rules based.
Do you have replays though? Do you have replays?
No, I do not know. AAU and Little League Baseball.
Okay, so that's great. We're very happy that you are, but this has to do with replay and what the replay rules are. Now, if it's a hit batter, and I'll go with this, and then I want your opinion. If it's a hit batter, trying to find out whether a pitch actually hits a batter, you can go to the review for the hit batter. You cannot, however, I believe, go to a review, I think, for balls and strikes, if I'm not mistaken. But you can go if a batter is supposedly hit.
Right.
You can go to the review to make sure that it was a hit or no hit.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what it turns out, and then we'll get Robbie's opinion on it. What turns out is that they went to the headphones and they supposedly reviewed the play. They looked at it. And after they looked at it, they still called the play good, as it was said on the field. They did not reverse the opinion of what the umpire did. But the umpire just said today he made a mistake. He said he should have called the guy out. Because you can't lean into a pitch. Now, you tell me what your thoughts are on that, Rob.
Well, first of all, you're 100% right. That
on baseball?
I know. No, but no, you're 100% right.
Did my research on it.
That he cannot lean into a pitch. That's 100%. But that's not even. And I did see, briefly a replay of. I actually have
I have it right here. But
yeah, I know. I did see the replay of it before we came on air. The issue that I have with it is not necessarily whether or not he leaned into the pitch, because to me, that's secondary to the fact that, at least in my judgment, and again, I'm watching it on a screen. I was not there umpiring it in person. That pitch is in the strike zone, or at least borderline to being in the strike zone.
Yes, I believe it was. But I believe he called it a strike at first.
Bottom line, if the way you're describing it, then he definitely screwed up on the rules. Because the bottom line is this: if a pitch hits a batter in the strike zone, and the umpire judges that it was in the strike zone when it hits the batter, whether he leans into it or not, it is a strike. In baseball rules, it is a strike. It doesn't matter if he, like I said, if he leans into it, tries to avoid it, whatever the case may be. If the pitch hits the batter in the strike zone, it is a strike. It is not a hit by pitch. Because a lot of times what you'll see batters kind of right up on home plate there on the inside part of the plate.
Yeah.
And a ball will get them, whether they lean into it or not. A ball will get them on the shoulder. But if that ball, is within the strike zone, if that ball is sort of on any part of the inside corner, like in the umpire's judgment, like I said, it is a strike. Bottom line. Whether he leaned into it or not. So I guess that's my bigger issue with this ruling is not whether or not the pitch hit him, is not what, and again, I think it's kind of debatable looking at the replay whether or not the pitch actually hit the batter to begin with. Not whether or not he leaned into it, but the bottom line is that with all that goes out the window by the pure and simple fact that it was in the strike zone. So it should be a strike anyway. No matter what happened with the ball hitting the batter, whether it hit him, didn't hit him, leaned in, whatever, it should be a strike, period, end of story. So that's where I kind of take issue with that ruling.
Right, but what's interesting is that it was in the strike zone, and it did look like if you slow it down a lot, it really looked like the batter actually went forward slightly to be able to be hit.
Wrong with that play.
Yeah.
There were about 3 different things that were wrong with that play. One, whether or not it actually even hit him. 2, whether or not he leaned into it. But number 3, and most importantly, that it was in the strike zone. It was in the strike zone. So all that should have canceled out any hit by pitch awarding of bases, period. Regardless of the other 2 factors. That bottom line is that if he judges that to be a strike, that cancels out the hit by pitch immediately per the rules of baseball.
Right, exactly.
So,
I totally agree with that. And what I want to do is I want to show people what was going on. And even Madeline came out and said, "What are you guys doing? This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense at all." And I'm not even sure if they were going to go to the replay at all. It would just, that was it. He got the walk off. The game was over. It was done. But I wanted to see if I can show this, if it'll go. Go, will you? Hold on. I know this is being recorded. Sorry about that.
Is going to come out and argue the call with the umpire Ron Culpa. Hit him, and it was going to be a strike. Yep. So the Mets are celebrating. The Marlins are arguing. And unless this is overruled, the Mets have themselves a 3-2 win as Conforto is nicked by a pitch. Now, by rule, he didn't have to make an effort to get out of the way. And that's
watch this. Here it comes.
Strike, and he gets hit. Look at that. Oh, you can't do that. Totally they got to bring it back. Totally. They're going to, it's absolute. And he stuck his elbow right into that pitch. It's going to be strike 3.
Yeah, but look, now they're discussing it. Now they're going to go to the headphones.
The hit by pitches review. The umpires are leaving. They're going to headset. I don't think they can go to the headset on this. This is not a reviewable play. Hit by pitch is reviewable. Why can't you say hit by pitch in the strike zone reviewable? I don't think so. I think whether he is hit or not is reviewable, but it's a judgment call by the umpire as to whether he made an effort to get out of the way.
Watch.
Trying to get it right. Can't do that. I'm certain that you couldn't call a strike. That they cannot overrule this on replay by saying that
they blew and
stuck his elbow into it. No, but you can
look. You see his elbow coming out too. It's unbelievable.
My bottom line is that
I don't know what I'm
and Robbie, they didn't even look at it that long. We did not look at it that long.
Stands, game's over, Mets winning. Wow.
And Madeline's going to come out again and say, what?
But I'm sure he's going to be told that that's not a review. They're trying to get it right. They don't get it right. So why even have replay? So Michael Conforto gets a game-winning RBI by sticking his elbow into the pitch from Anthony Bass, and the Mets rally for 2 in the bottom of the ninth.
That's just crazy. That's just crazy, and they're just hanging out in the field. They're just like, what's going on here? I don't get it. So I just think it's interesting, and I guess what I'm trying to say about my final thought is the fact that unfortunately, even with replay, it's not a perfect system, and it's not going to be. And that's why I guess you and I are purists in that way. And we're gonna have we're gonna have another purist kind of episode. We're gonna talk about a whole bunch of things that are pure to us and have no bearing on any sports games now. That's why I think but what I heard about, especially baseball replay, and you can tell me whether this is right or not. Baseball replay is for them to get it right. Replay is for people to get it right. There have been calls in basketball. There have been calls in football that have been taken back, that have been, no, you know what, we screwed up. We didn't see that, and we screwed up, and this is what I see it in the NBA all the time. Yeah. They may look at it, they're like, no, the guy was not out of bounds. We called it out of bounds, but he wasn't out of bounds. It's our fault, but that's why the replay is there. Replay there is to get it right, not to screw another team. The replay is there to get it right.
Right.
Period.
You're right.
No matter what the outcome is.
100%.
But you also have to follow the rule, and what you're saying is that these umps messed up the rule. Totally.
They messed up big time on multiple ways there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I wanted you, because I know, you're an umpire, and I know that you do this and you've done it for a long time, and obviously not in the major leagues, but still umpire, you have to follow the baseball rules. Yeah. So rules are baseball rues, no matter where you are. So so that's basically my final thought for the evening. We had a great time. We are on, just like we said before, we are on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. Please remember, and it's going to say it right after the episode, but remember to subscribe and bell. If you want us to talk about anything sports wise or otherwise, we don't mind talking about stuff that's not sports related. If you have any ideas, any themes that you want us to bring up for other shows, put it in the comments under the YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on SoundCloud. What else? We're on Twitter. So check us out on those platforms. We had a great time for the Sports Blitz in episode number 79. I'm Doug. That's Robbie. We will see you next time. We have some great stuff coming up really soon. We have some guests that are coming up, and we also have some great content that's coming up. So we will see you next time.